listening to Anthony.
We're doing a second season, and we're moving to 10:30, just inching back a half an hour. At first they said let's go to 10. That's what they're going to. 10 is technically kind of primetime television.
Yeah.
So they're going to move it to 10. And because the numbers for the show are strong enough to then grow it. And then they said, we're doing 10:30. I'm like, what happened to 10? They said, well, no, we can't. Your show can't. They said, believe me, you're better off. Stay.
Well, you don't want them fucking with it.
I'm exactly, if I was on any other network, at any other time period, I would not be able to do this show the way it is, because the advertisers wouldn't buy it. He showed the guy at the network showed it to advertisers that buy 10 p.m. time, which is far more expensive than 10:30 time, and they were like, "We're not. What are you crazy?
You insane?"
My daughter's the oldest one is in 3rd grade, and the other one's in kindergarten.
Are you going to reflect that in your TV show, or like how accurate is the daughters
TV
and
show
you
is very
on the
different.
show, or like are they going to grow up on the show, or are you going to have to replace them? Are you going to age them rapidly like a soap opera?
Well, the girls on my show are totally different than the girls my kids.
Yeah,
they are only represented in age. But my kids are nothing like those girls. They're really fictional. I mean, most of my family...
I never thought that they were an accurate depiction of your kids, even though I don't know your kids. But is the way you're reacting to them, that seems to be like you.
No, that is definitely different, too.
That's
my daughters
too?
and I have...
Do you beat your children? Is that what you're not showing on the show?
My daughters and I have a very real and close relationship, a very warm relationship, and we're just great friends. They're my favorite people, my daughters, and we get along great. And I used to get frustrated when I was younger at having kids, just getting through a day with kids. Used to be a chore.
From your act, we would never have known that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've had all through being a dad incredible moments and times in my life that are completely unfunny, so those are kept out of there.
Yeah,
no one wants to see that. No one ever will.
No way to make it funny.
No
nothing.
way. Like I did a bit during this last tour I did about sleeping, and my daughters waking me up in the morning, like at 6 o'clock every morning. And I don't need to get up to like 7:30 to get them to school, but they get me up at 6. Because they're awake and they want to share the day with me, you know.
Yeah.
So I did this bit about how good sleep feels at 6 a.m. Like how much I don't want to wake up because I feel like I'm, fathoms deep in a river of chocolate, and sleep is like an ancient whore who's sucking me off slowly and speaking in a dead language. You know, this whole thing I do about how much I don't want to wake up, and then I wake up and I'm miserable. When I conceived that bit, the second part to it was the truth, which is as much as I hate getting upright at 6 a.m., once I'm feeding my kids breakfast and we're chatting, I'm so happy to get up.
Yeah.
Because when I'm on the road or when my kids aren't with me, I always sleep till like noon or 1 o'clock, and I wake up, I feel like a piece of shit, and most of the day is gone. But I get up at 6 o'clock, and even though the transition is difficult, standing there and feeding them, I feed them a full breakfast every morning. And I stand there watching them eat it, and we chat, and it's such a real life to me. That's real. When I started it on stage, I'd tell the part about sleeping and about not wanting to wake up, and then I'd get to that part, and the laughter would just completely stop. I had no way to make that funny. So I stopped doing it.
You're a good dad. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I just dropped that part off.
Where does the Louis from the TV show?
Well, that guy, I mean, I like on the show to be just to make mistakes I never would, and to be more reactive and have less control over myself. It's just funnier.
You're in a weird situation with this, and I think it's a good person to compare it to. Seinfeld, I think, went through the same thing. A lot of people assume that's Seinfeld because he's Jerry Seinfeld on the show, that's Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. And that is not Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, no, he's not
on the show.
No.
So when you watch your show, you're Louis, you're the stand-up, you're doing what you do.
Yeah.
So a lot of people assume that's an accurate depiction of you head to toe. That's you.
Yeah, no, I definitely am different than that guy.
And where does that come from? Like, just you make up a guy and kind of.
I mean, it's me, but I don't do the things I would do usually. Some of it is playing out fantasies, like saying things out loud to people that are bothering me that I never would say.
My dumb questions are just, I'm amazed at people's creativity. I can't fathom being able to
kids,
make shit up like that.
You're like a little boy, though. But are the cameras really there, or do you bring them?
But
I am an ass.
The kids on the show are actually two different girls played my youngest daughter last season.
Dick Sargent and Dick York.
That's right.
I almost fucked that up.
And it wasn't far from that. They were very close. We had a girl playing when I started doing the show. FX wanted to make my talent deals for me because they have these packages they give actors, you know. Really? And I said I don't want to do that because I don't want you to know who I'm hiring. And
keep everything on the QT.
I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
You know, our little company hires our actors directly, and also I don't want to give people series deals because I don't want to be forced to put them on the show.
Yeah,
I don't like having to say, oh, what do we have to make up for this guy this time? So the girls, you know, I hired two actresses to play my daughters, and the guy who runs FX said to me, yeah, but what if one of them gets another job? And I said, well, fuck her then. I'll get another one. I don't care.
No one cares.
No one gives a shit. It doesn't matter who's playing them. It really doesn't. And
you're fucking brilliant.
No, so one of the girl who played my youngest daughter, she got a pilot on ABC. It wasn't even a show that went to, I knew it wouldn't go to series because no pilots really ever do. But I said, let her go. We'll get another one. And then maybe if she comes back next year, you know. So she left, and then we got another one and started using her. And then the thing came up, well, this is what FX warned me of. Do I tell them that I replaced my daughter? And I decided, no, because they don't see the show until it's complete. They don't read scripts. They don't see footage.
Oh, shit, okay.
So I figured they'll see an episode with the new kid, and then I'll get a phone call and I'll deal with it then.
They'll assume they've lost the part.
Yeah, so I put it on. I sent it to them. The first episode with the new girl, they didn't say anything. They never noticed. And then one of the last episodes, actually, both girls, because I matched two stories that weren't originally supposed to be. One girl plays my daughter in the first half of the episode,
and
another girl plays her in the second half. No one said anything. I talked to the FX guy, and I said, did you know that I've got two girls? And he was like, no. Nobody.
Because who gives a shit?
It doesn't matter.
Do you know how hard it is to get creative control like that? Like that's like a fucking Kubrick or Spielberg type of thing.
And it's from being on the other side of the spectrum from those guys that we drove the show down to be so cheap that it's not like
they were just
Spielberg
happy.
owns the world so he can do what he wants, but me, no one cares what I'm doing because my show can be paid for by advertisers that literally don't know what the show's about.
That's perfect.
If the show was a little more expensive or on a little bit earlier, then, you know, I don't know who, Nescafe or, you know.
Nescafe.
General Mills would say,
Procter & Gamble.
Yes, but right now, fucking some lawyer from New Jersey is paying for my show. The deal that I have that I signed says that FX has full control over the show and that they have to approve every decision that I make.
But whether they do that or not is another thing.
Practice, they've never done it, but I earned that with every show. If I turn in 2 shitty episodes, I'll start having an executive on the set, and I'll have to turn in
fingers in there.
But how great is that they fucking allow that?
The way I got it was that I was willing not to do the show any other way. I was willing to say, you have to really be willing to say no to stuff. If you really want the gig and you feel like you can't live without it, then you'll give away everything.
And it's so rough
they
when
would be
close.
like, well, we want to read scripts. And I go, no, I'm not interested in doing it that way. We established it with the pilot. I said, this is the only way I'll do it. You give me the money, I'll make a show. Well, we'd like to find out who's in it. Not interested in telling you that. Really? Yeah, no, and if you want to know who's in the show, then I'd rather not do it. Like, I said that a few times through the process.
And meant it.
Yes, I did, and I meant it. Well, we'd like to visit your set. I don't want you here. But I totally understand why you would want to come here because you're paying for the show. But I'd rather we just call it off. And they were so cool. And the guy who runs FX, John Landgraf, is a genius. And he said he kept everybody off of me, and it worked. I gave them a show they liked. If I'd given them a show that needed work, they would have been like, yes, we'll give you a green light, but you need more supervision. But they're like, do you keep doing it that way? But he's the one who got me to do it without signing that. He said, look, I can't. There's no deal that exists that covers this.
Hitler, a love story.
I could have done anything, but since I turned in something that was basically funny and competent and didn't look crazy, okay, let's keep doing it as long as it works. But episode by episode, I have to earn that. So each episode they've liked, and they just keep saying, all right, it's good. They don't ever give me notes or anything. They just let me do it.
They stay hands off.
It's the best job I ever had. Well, and that gives me freedom not only to do what I want and be edgy, it also, I don't have a good work ethic. Like, I can't complete things, and I don't have a consistent focus.
Wow.
So I can do things like write half a sketch on the show or half a story, and I can't get around to finishing it. But I go ahead and produce it anyway. I send it to, get them to cast the parts. And I start shooting it without an ending.
It totally comes across. You totally come across to me as a guy that is the finish it guy.
Well, it takes me a long time to finish
eventually,
stuff.
But I mean, like, to me, I really thought you were the kind of guy that, like, because from a lot of the short things I've seen you do online and things like that, it's like I have an idea and I'm actually going to do it. And you do it.
Some of them are like that. Some things that I've done, I know that I have an idea, and 5 minutes later, I actually know how it's going to be shot and finished and everything.
So you actually won't finish it. Sometimes you'll have you'll know where you want to start and kind of where you might want to end up, and then just know it's going to work out.
Yeah, I'll just shoot a scene that I know is funny, and then I'll figure I'll find a place for it. There's whole bits that Nick DiPaolo, who's on the show a lot as himself, I originally put him in a suit and tie and had him play almost like a Catskills, like he did kind of a character, and he wore a suit and tie they had this weird idea that there's an old timey Dean Martin kind of comedian in the midst of these.
What the fuck?
And I have one whole thing that I shot with him in that character. That never will be on the show, but it's on the DVD.
I was gonna say DVD would.
No, and also because
like
I don't make serious deals with people, and because nobody cares who's on the show, I can Bob Kelly, who played my brother on the show. I didn't have any plans to have a brother on the show. Just I wrote one scene for him, and he really nailed it. He had that really pathetic quality to that Bob has. That you just want to punch him and hug him.
Oh, the diner scene's fucking fantastic.
And so he was so good in that, and that I gave him a few more episodes. This season, I might not have him on.
He's tremendous. Bobby's great.
I'm writing season 2. I'm writing season 2 right now, and I haven't written a bit for him, and I introduced a sister into the show because I have actually 3 sisters. So I have
Bobby with a wig,
a sister character. So he may not be on. But then the other day I came up with a bit. I thought that actually might be good for him. But he also might come back as a different character. I don't know.
Say that if he's
I'm serious.
Great.
You should have him come back as 2 people at once because he put weight on just to humiliate him.
Exactly.
When he's in the car, though, it is such perfect Bobby when he's just like, hey, dude.
Hey, dude. No, Jim is in one scene last year. And probably I'll use him as a totally different guy.
If you need a character like a French guy or whatever.
Do you have one of those?
Come on, Louis.
Hey, good morning.
I am so happy you came to my bakery.
Can I get? How are the croissants this morning?
They are delicious and hot, just the way you like them.
All of a sudden you're German.
But there was a whole World War II thing with my family. I'm writing backstory.
He's Alsatian. He's Alsatian French.
It's Vichy.
I could almost totally see doing that. Just have him play this broad and don't just have it be this
no
character.
Explanation, nothing.
And maybe we have one of those, like, it's a character, we have one of those, it's been a tough day with the kids. You know, fatherhood is tough, right, Francois?
Oh, yes, it is tough to raise them properly. You have to let them go. Fucking good, man.
He's got wisdom. He's got a little wisdom.
Yeah, a lot of wisdom.
If I turn that show on, I'd shit my pants.
I'll just do really hacky French jokes. Well, if you're children, you should surrender.
And just an aside, you can see him just walking down the street and just say hello to him, and he's got the paper bag with a baguette sticking out of it,
yes,
and some celery and a beret on.
But I'll have to make sure the audience knows. Like, you'll say something, I'm glad you came in because I am French.
Right. See, I love the idea of doing this because, like, Ricky Gervais's character didn't fit the rest of the season at all because I didn't do any other cartoonly stupid characters like that. I did one. And there's people that complained about it, like, this doesn't fit. I mean, one thing I love to do on my show is that even the people that are the biggest fans of the show have things that make them upset about it. That makes me happy. Fuck you, I wanted to do it. That's my show. If you don't like it, stop watching. If there's enough of you guys, I'll get fired. So it would be great if next season is really down to earth and real and really, just believable and credible, but there's this one sore thumb piece of shit. Not even played by a guy who knows how to do it. Like, it would be bad enough to get a stereotypical French guy who actually is but this guy doesn't even have any handle on the accent. To use Jimmy that way, that would be great. It's like, what's his name? Will Ferrell told me that he used to have in his head these couple watching SNL. He would imagine, and he would do moments that he used to call holy moly moments, where the husband of the couple, he would do things on SNL that he pictured the guy going, holy moly. Like, Jesus.
What the hell is he doing?
So,
Jim, get ready.
I've been working on my French accent for since about 8:48.
You're listening to Anthony.
The last night of the pilot shooting, we shot the stand-up at the Comedy Cellar, and we were figuring out as we were going along how to do that. And I got a Steadicam operator to stand on stage with me at the Cellar. That's how we shot that. And I could hear the guy's cans. I could hear the tech director talking to the camera person.
Okay, go to 3. We're going to pack and you're trying to fucking do.
I actually hear her telling him what he's doing. Go a little closer. And I'm talking to a fucking audience of 2,000 people during a set that I've been preparing for a year.
Yeah, I'm glad you left that in.
And I had to turn to him and say, "You got to back off because I can hear you."
Yeah.
But we left it in because
it
is a strange. I think if you watch the show high, that's probably a really fucked up moment.
Because you're
just absorbed in it.
Yeah, you feel like.
And all of a sudden you go.
It would have been a funny thing to say, "Hey, Captain Obvious, you want to back up?" I mean, I can think of this stuff later.
Dying. Sorry. Okay. So we shot at the Comedy Cellar with a Steadicam, and then when we were done, I was standing out in the Village. It was the summer, and I thought maybe I should shoot a moment outside. And then it hit me. I don't have an opening sequence to the show. I don't have a way to open. And just to hand something into FX, just to give them something. I assume we'll shoot some kind of a really slick opening someday for this show, but just to have something to give them when we turn in the pilot, because they only gave us $200,000 to do the pilot, which is very low money for a pilot.
Yeah.
So we had a Steadicam guy there, which is a very expensive rig and person. And I said, why don't we just put the guy's Steadicam on with a 25 lens, doesn't matter, and I'll walk from the 3rd Street subway to the Comedy Cellar, which is my walk. That's how I get to work every night, and just walk in front of me with the camera, and we'll just shoot that. And so we're walking. We did exactly that. I came out of the subway. We only did it once, and he followed me, and then I just followed my instincts. I got to Ben's Pizza on McDougal Street and went in for a slice. That's why I always do get a couple of chomps.
Yeah.
Because usually what happens is I put my kids to sleep, and then I get a babysitter to come, and then I run to the cellar, and I haven't eaten. I fed them dinner and put them to bed. So I just need a little bit of calories in me to do a set. So I started eating the pizza, and the camera stayed there and just watched me eat pizza. And these young Asian kids with spiky hair, kind of like cool alt punky kids walk by, and they see a camera, so they think, "Oh, fuck you," like this kind of just, you know what I mean? Young people, contrary to anything. Fuck you, man. And the kid really did it like that. Like, you can't hear it because there's no sound, but he was stupid that he didn't. He could have just stood in front of the camera,
and
but
really
as he walked by, fuck you, like he did it like that. And I just watched him, and I kept a straight face. You can see me glance at him after he gives me the finger, and I thought, because I know the scope of the lens that we had on him. Like, I know we just caught that, and I know it's out of focus. And I'm so happy that just happened. That's just so, and it was a moment that I thought this show's going to be on TV. Like that moment, literally when he flipped off the camera, I thought, because I was like, that's so cool that's going to be in the opening credits. And I knew this is going to be the opening credits of the show. I'm not replacing this. And I think we're going to get on the air. Like, it just made me believe because of the fun, to me, the coolness of getting this this legitimate, sincere middle finger in this New York City show.
That New York City moment.
One of the funniest things that happened on Lucky Louie to me was we were doing a scene, and there was a woman who was a bartender, and she had a shirt on, and on the shirt was like the little clear tag that had like LLL, like for large.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, you know when from the Gap.
Forget to take those off the back of your leg.
And
on your jeans
we're
and
rehearsing, and Louis goes to me, all I want is for that to be shot and on television.
Yeah.
I want that so bad.
Yeah. And it was, I think. I don't think we had to take it off.
I don't know if they took it off or if they caught it, but you're like, I just don't want them to catch that.
Yeah.
I want her to have that on television.
Oh, no. I love when imperfect things happen and awful things. And I go, we're using that. It's easier to do on this show than Lucky Louie. There was some level of people trying to perfect stuff all the time, and that used to make me irritated.
Look how easy it is to just pull shit up. Yeah, you look very natural. Like, that's how you look walking.
And actually, it backs up if you know the geography of
you
the
walked
village.
past it already, Lou. What the fuck?
There he is.
Fuck you, man!
Yeah, like
so
that means anything.
Dude. The camera represents the eye of the man.
No, and this font is just what was. I use it for other shit.
Yeah.
And we kept it. I didn't. That moment of me looking is me thinking this. I'm got my own TV show again. I honestly felt that way.
Right.
And the song I picked off of iTunes or whatever and threw it on for the sake of the. For just to have something to hand in as a complete thing. And then John Landgraf, the guy who runs FX, when he saw it, he said, I think Louis fits into it. And also, I didn't know I was going to call it that. I just did that as a thing. And he said, I think Louis fits in. I like the opening. I like the song. He took it as the way the show's supposed to be. And then I needed to go get, then I needed to go get this song, Brother Louis, which was originally recorded by a band called Hot Chocolate. And then it was re-recorded by the Stories. And so we went after it, and our legal tiny department. And they said they would give us... Well, yeah, there's the publishing, and then there's the recording. The publishing is the actual, like, the song lyrics and the arrangement. And that... actually, we pay Hot Chocolate for the publishing. Or whoever owns their publishing, because they wrote it. But the Stories version is the one that we wanted.
Oh, okay.
Because of that guy, Louis! Ian Lloyd, that singer. The Hot Chocolate version is like 8 guys going, Louis, Louis, Louis. Yeah. It's not as fun. So we recorded our own version of it. Reggie Watts was a comic. He did the music for the first half of the season. And then we didn't have enough to finish it with him. We did it with other people. But he arranged and recorded the music for it that we did, which is almost identical to the Stories version. I think it's a little better. It's just a little nicer. And then we did a version where he sang it, where Reggie sang it, and it didn't work. And we tried to think of another way to create that sound, and we couldn't. I was in the studio with Reggie at like midnight, because all the music on this series, I do it with a group of musicians. It's all original music. But then when we were doing the theme song, I was like, how are we going to do this? And then I thought, well, whatever happened to the Stories? Like, whatever happened to the lead singer? I don't know who the fuck he was at the time. And I found a YouTube video of him doing it on American Bandstand. And, Louis! And so I Googled his name, and Ian Lloyd is just a guy living in New York City. And he has a band. It's his son's band, but he's like sings. Jesus Christ. And so he's got a little website that he obviously hadn't updated since like 1989 or something. And there's an email on it. So it's like midnight, and I write a Hail Mary email. Hi, I'm a TV producer, and I want to hire you to do a job. Write me if you're interested. And the next morning I wake up to an email. This is my current email. Please. And he gave me his phone number. So I call him up, and he's the fucking greatest guy in the world. And he's just happy to still be singing. Yeah. And I kind of asked sort of carefully, do you still have the pipes to do what you did on the song? He said, sure I do. And I told him, look, here's the thing. Oh, because the song, when we went to try to get it, it was like fucking $20,000 an episode they wanted for the recording. For the recording of it, They wouldn't back down, and we can't afford it. So I went to Ian and I said, can we just hire you as a singer for a day? That's all I can really afford to do. I have no money for this show. And he said, well, I need you to pay me enough that I don't want to kill myself. He said basically, I'm happy to do this for you. I just need to have some self-respect, So I offered him some money, and he said, that's fine. And he showed up. it was one of my favorite experiences ever on the show because he was such a good guy, and he remembered how we recorded it. He remembered there's a couple of tracks, and he harmonized with himself, and he helped us with it. And the only thing, I had him do it exactly the way he did it in the original, and his voice is a little older, but I like it that ours is a little different. And also I asked him to say, instead of Louie, you're going to cry, the second time he says, Louie, you're going to die. I just asked him to make that one change, which he did.
Wow.
And he nailed it. So we have a version that zero people believe is anything but the original Stories version.
Without having to pay
that money, which would be going to Ian Lloyd. Unfortunately, he probably fucked himself.
You totally
really fucked him over with his help.
You so fucked with his
Hell yeah. He would have started getting checks. They'd be coming every time the show is on. Netflix,
everything
fucking DVD, boom, boom. Instead, he got a day rate. No, and I felt bad because when I did Carnegie Hall, I had this idea to have him sing live to introduce me. And I thought that would be so cool, and he'd go crazy singing Carnegie Hall. I'm sure he didn't see that coming in his future.
Yeah.
But the people at Carnegie Hall, if you do music, they charge you like you're the Philharmonic. But no, he's a great guy, and yeah. But there's been people on the internet that are like, this can't be the Stories version because it says you're going to die, and I have the Stories version. I've listened to both back to back.
They don't notice the daughter change, but they notice that fucking shit.
Yeah, could you have him sing live if you had a recording, or is it just if music's being played? If you had the music taped?
Well, at that point, I wanted to have like a little combo band, and then they said that would cost a lot, and then they said, well, you could do it with playback, and then I said, well, I just don't want to do it. So you just called me out on a lie. I just kind of backed out.
This is the Anthony Show.